In 3, 2, 1.
John, are we live?
We're live, sir.
How's it going, buddy?
Pretty well. How about yourself?
You got a chuckle because I know you're chomping at the bits to talk about how we got stood up today.
Smoked. Yep. A little pissed, but it's all right.
Yeah, for everybody watching or listening, I'll give you some background about how we book guests, and we're typically a couple months booked out in advance because we're such a popular show.
Boom.
John does an incredible job of reaching out to guests, making sure that they know that we're going to have a show on a certain day, giving them the address, when to be in studio, because you can't see when you're watching live, but we do have a studio with lights, microphones. We like to do sound checks and run a pretty professional show here. More professional than, people doing shows in their basements and stuff.
Yep.
So we want to just make sure that the lighting works for our guests, that our guests are comfortable. We give them drinks. We start to chat with them, and then we go live. So John breaks us out for people, tells them when they're coming in, sends them a calendar invite that they will accept, and then he follows up a few days in advance. And we had a guest booked for today, and yesterday was, I think, trying to change the times around a little bit, and then today just kind of said they were too busy to come in. So we are guestless. I'll let John elaborate on that. But the cool thing is that John and I believe it was last week, Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
When we recorded Brody. We mentioned this story about Brody Burnell, I'd say about 6 to 8 months ago. Brody is a young man. He's 21 years old, and he was a pilot from a very young age. I think he was 18 when the actual accident happened. He had logged a lot of hours. He was flying a small plane, and he crashed the plane. And most of you know when there's a plane accident, the survival rate is extremely low. Well, Brody survived. Unfortunately for Brody, he was in a coma for 3 months, and his road to recovery is obviously very, very difficult. Fast forward from the time we heard the story 6 months ago to last Wednesday, John and I were able to do a pre-recording of Brody telling his story about getting into a plane accident, and going to coma, what he felt like when he woke up, and then obviously his road to recovery. It's 2 parts. We were planning on doing 1 part today because we had a guest, and a second part at a later date. So you're going to see 1 part of the 2 parts. The second part will include Brody's mom. So we do have something for you. So don't run away because we don't have a guest. I think Brody's story is a heroic one. It's a miracle, and his fight and his want to fight to have a normal life is an inspiring one. I don't think you'll hear it in this episode, but the second one, he talks all about how he wants a girlfriend. So if you're watching the show and you want to be Brody's girlfriend, or if you have a girlfriend for Brody, we will take inquiries here at AE Wheelhouse and pass them along to Brody.
Indeed.
Now let John talk about if he about the missed show if he wants.
Well, I tell you what, I'm not going to get deep into it because everything you just said as far as Brody, he is inspirational, he is strong. This gentleman, 21 years old now, is recovering from a traumatic brain injury, yet he was able to schedule the interview and keep his promise as far as the calendar and the schedule. We had a person that we were going to have on who, as Mo mentioned, we had this person invited a couple months ago. The invitation had been positively accepted, and we had talked a few times, sent the questionnaire, and then all of a sudden it was a big surprise that this person was supposed to be in studio at 2:30, and here we sit. So that is all I'm going to say on that, because I believe in taking the high road, and person does do some good work for other people. We just felt a little disrespected, I guess, that our little show wasn't good enough for her to actually schedule herself for it, even though she promised that she would. However, Brody, 21 years old, working hard every single day to come back to a normal life, and has really, really come a long way just from the stories that we had heard off air, and having the conversation that we had, which I'm going to play momentarily. What a story for this kid to just, he and his friend went up in a plane. He, as you alluded to, he had been flying for quite a while, and the plane lost power, and he and his friend made it through. His friend in even better shape than he, and just his friend is living his normal life as it is, and Brody is working his way towards that. And I just applaud the heck out of the two of them and the families for standing by and working, because that it's a huge. One morning you wake up, and then the next morning you wake up in a totally different set of circumstances, and
or 3 months later.
Yeah, well, yeah, but for the
Family,
family just wow. So I think without further ado, I'm going to play this. It's about 7 minutes long, and as you once again you mentioned, it's part one of two parts, and it's just Brody and primarily Mo and Brody speaking, and I'm going to play it, and then we'll come back and kind of talk about it. But anybody that's watching this live, if you get something from this, please, type to us, write to us, and let us know what your thoughts are. And then even after the show, Mo at AE Wheelhouse, John at AE Wheelhouse, any positive thoughts or positive energy you got from this, we can pass along to Brody, because he still has a fight. And he's fighting every day, and it'd be nice to pass along some good sentiments, and he deserves it, I think. So yeah. I'm going to play it, and then probably I'll throw that back out there when we get back. But here comes the interview that we had last Wednesday.
Great. Hey, everybody, it's Mo. John's here as well. We have a special segment. This is a kind of a cool thing that we haven't done before, but I have Brody Burnell and his mom, Jeannie, on, and this is one of the coolest stories we've ever had on Wheelhouse. So we wanted to do a special segment with Brody. Brody is 21 years old, just recently turned 21. He is a pilot who survived a plane crash, and I am incredibly interested to hear about not just the story of the crash, but what Brody's done heroically since the crash, to be able to be with us and talk to us on this podcast from sunny Arizona. Brody, thank you for coming on. Tell us and everybody listening and viewing a little bit about your background, a little bit about being a pilot, and then what happened.
I grew up liking airplanes because of my mom, and then when I was 12, I went to Westwood Aviation in Phoenix to DeVille Airport, and I flew for the first time and got a logbook and got my first hour.
Wow.
And then when I was, I think, Mom was 16?
17.
When I was 17, I bought a plane, a really bad plane.
It's a plane.
Then,
most people don't have a car at 16, so congratulations. It's pretty cool.
And then I started flying and got my license when I was 17 from Dan Gimbel. And then started flying that entire year. And then when I was 18, I had about 276 hours of flight time.
Wow.
Then when I was 18, was it 3 weeks for my birthday, Mom?
A month before.
It was a month before I turned 19. We taxied over, we did our pre-flight checks from the airplane, taxied over to Sibrin fueled up the plane. But the previous day to my grandma, sorry, I'm going off topic here. The previous day to my grandma on a flight for her birthday. And then her birthday was August 1st. And then August 1st, Chandler and I fueled up the plane, took Charlie over to runway 25 right, or 25 left. We took off, 50 feet up, my engine failed. Went through a fence, hit a tree.
Wow.
I tried to turn around and make runway 7 right, but I couldn't. I tried to restart the plane, but that didn't work, obviously. And woke up in Denver.
Unbelievable.
I went to John C. Lincoln in a coma, and then went to Select, then went to the airport to go $14,000 medical flight to Colorado.
Wow.
I woke up in coma around Thanksgiving in 2017.
Unbelievable. So, obviously, very few people live through a plane accident to be able to tell about it. Did it just happen really quickly? Did everything slow down for you a little bit, or was it very quick when it actually happened?
God just saved my life.
Yeah.
It was pretty quick, honestly. I just remember trying to save me and Chandler's life, which I did in the end. And then he was in a coma for 3 weeks. I was 3 months.
Wow. And, well, congratulations on being able to get both of you through that plane crash alive, that's an incredible thing in and of itself. What were your initial thoughts when you woke up and doctors were telling you, hey, you were in a plane crash, you're alive now? What was going through your head, if you can remember that?
They just dragging me to talk again. They were like, say mama, say papa. That's right. I didn't call my grandparents that. My dad did.
Yeah.
And then I started talking again. It took me a while, and I could barely talk, and it was really crappy. And then I broke both ankles on impact. So I went to surgery in Denver and had both my ankles fixed and then tendon release. And then my speech got better. And then I had my first two surgeries, I don't know why we're skipping ahead to this, but I had 2 metal rods put in my spine. And then piece of my skull taken off.
Oh, unbelievable.
And then that's what started off with. And then I had a total, I don't know how many surgeries. Right now I'm at 15, but I'm having my 16th really soon.
Unbelievable. I can't imagine having to have so many surgeries, but also having to gain all abilities back. Because I'm talking to you right now like we're just two dudes talking on FaceTime, and it's
Like
unbelievable. Yeah, like good buddies from Arizona and Chicago, and it's unbelievable the progress you've made from a plane crash and coming out of a coma to me and you just being able to chat with each other today. How's that kind of process been going?
I mean, I got into a class. I had a 6-hour knee surgery, number 14. They bended my knee, or took bone out of my knees and took my metal rod out of my right leg.
That's how you can walk.
And that's how I can walk now. I couldn't walk before because bone grew on my quad muscles, and it was very painful.
Unbelievable. I mean, congratulations to you on being that strong to be able to go from, first of all, again, being able to save your life and the life of your friend, to waking up from a coma and being strong enough to go through 14, 15, not easy surgeries and be able to walk again, talk again, get your speech back again. You are a incredible story.
And I was 196 when I arrived back in Phoenix last year. So now I'm 158. I lost 40 pounds.
Well, I was 158 at the beginning of the year, and I'm 190 today. I did the opposite, but in a really bad way. I gained like every pound you lost.
Great, get it, man. In this program in Phoenix called CTN, Center for Transitional Neurologics, it's gonna teach me how to go back to work and drive again. I'm in there like 7 months.
Good for you. And do you do most of your rehab in Arizona now, or do you travel around the country? All of it in
I
Arizona.
wish I traveled. Don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
But
Mom is behind the camera right now talking.
Let's go to Italy for some rehab.
Italy's beautiful.
I know I got drunk there like a few months before I crashed.
We're in Italy.
I don't know, a wine tour in Punta Ala.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It was fun as heck.
It's nice that in Italy they let you drink before you're 21.
I was 17, and I have it on video.
You were 18.
I was 18, and I have it on video when I went on a wine tour. Limoncello, boys, that stuff is good.
Limoncello is awesome. Maybe we'll have to send him some of that down there, John.
For sure.
John, do you want me to bring Mom in too?
Yeah, it was that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, like bring in Mom and we'll chat with both of them. We're back.
We are back.
So for those of you who just watched that clip, I hope it had a powerful message for everybody of hope and just pure grit of a guy who had gone through so much. I don't know if while watching it, you're able to feel what I felt talking to Brody. One of the things that I felt was just his fun, positive energy. And I had the privilege of talking to Brody, John and I both did, before we actually went live, recorded live with him, and just kind of chatting with him. And his positive mindset and how much fun he was, given everything he's going through, affected me a lot in a way that all of us deal with stuff every single day. Sometimes stuff that's really tough, sometimes stuff that is just your day-to-day job that frustrates you. And people allow things to affect them in a negative way at different rates. But watching somebody who is 21 years old, we were talking about, like he's not supposed to drink that much. We were talking off air about what's your favorite drink.
Yep.
We're talking about girls. He's at an age, he's 21, between 18 and 21, where if you think back to when you were 18 to 21,
True.
you were just running around having as much fun as you can, doing all the things that an 18 to a 21-year-old would do.
Right.
Imagine during 18 to 21 years of age, you are coming out of a coma, fighting to be able to walk again, which Brody is now able to do, fighting to be able to converse again, fighting to be able to move around again. You know, I don't remember how many surgeries he said he had, but it was hundreds of surgeries, I think.
No, it wasn't hundreds of surgery. It was hundreds of hours of rehab that he's been going through. He's done, I believe he's done 15 or 16 major surgeries. Yeah. And then all the rehab that goes in between each of those just to get him to that next level. Yeah.
You know, we spoke, like, I just recently had shoulder surgery and I go to PT 3 times a week and I'm miserable. I'm irritated. I'm angry. Right. I said, boy, did just that get put into perspective. What am I complaining about?
Right.
You know, it's an annoying thing to go through. But his positive mindset and his outlook on being able to, you know, get to where he was prior to the accident was inspirational to me. He was fun to talk to. I can't wait for the day we actually get him in studio.
I know, right?
And I'm looking forward to showing everybody the second clip, you know, with at Jeannie. A later date with Jeannie because it was. I'm not a parent, you know, but watching the love between them and the fun and the banter and how much they came together just really, in the best way possible, showed a parent's love for their kid.
Yeah.
You know, she went through a lot to be able to talk to him again, converse with him and have fun from, you know, getting the phone call that your son was in a plane crash. You know, you fear that, you know, a loved one's in a car accident. You get that call, I was in a car accident. Somebody calls your kid was in a car accident.
Right.
That's the call you never want to get.
Right.
It's a plane accident. And going to Colorado, I believe, him coming out of a coma, to see them being able to converse to me was inspirational. It's a great story of a parent and child. And it was one of the coolest stories I think we've had on
I really do. I agree. I mean, you know, we as in you and I, but we collectively, you know, entrepreneurs, which we talk, generally speaking, we talk with a lot of entrepreneurs that come in here and talk about their struggles with work and building a business and building brand. And there's a lot of bases to cover and such. And that is all true. I'm not discounting any of that in any way, shape, or form. But then you have a conversation with somebody like Brody, who's like, you know, all right, we've got problems that we deal with on a regular daily basis and such, and we have goals that we're trying to achieve and such. But, you know, you're 18, 19 years old, and you're going, you know, I mean, shoot, he was going to college. He was going to go to college and just, you know, get into that whole realm of life and level up and learn and so on and so forth. And then, you know, something happens and you can't talk, you can't walk, you can't, you're everything's been kind of stripped away from you. And I think that I know that Brody and Jeannie both alluded to it. They're very faithful people as far as their belief in God. And I know that Brody in that clip at one point said that God saved his life that day. You know, and to each their own, however they want to go with about that. But I mean, just to put in perspective as far as what problems really are in comparison to what we see, you know, people scream about on Facebook or Instagram or whatever it might be. And this kid is really, he's just going through it like, hey, you know what? I want a girlfriend. And I know we're going to get into that next week. But I mean, shoot, when, you know, 18 to 21, 22, whatever, you know, it's all about, oh, I got a fake ID. Can I get into a bar? Oh, she's hot. I wonder if she's got a boyfriend. You know, I mean, all that stuff. And then this kid's just trying to learn to walk and talk again and remember who he is as a human being and how to act in the world and his mom and dad and every. My goodness, I mean, it is. It's strength that it's enamoring. I was really what a great kid. What a great story.
You and I were driving last week. I think we were in the car. I think we were driving or we were walking on Wednesday, and we saw that guy, remember, honking and screaming, like just losing his shit over somebody not turning left fast enough. And I think back to that. You have a guy who's just freaking out over somebody not turning fast enough and swearing and cussing, and like that's the problem he has that day.
Yep.
And then you have to put into perspective an 18-year-old kid who's got to wake up from a coma and now get himself back to where he was.
Yeah.
And, you're going to see it in the second clip. His mom talks about how his friends are, a little bit older. They've gone away to school. They've gone away.
Sure.
You wake up and that's kind of gone away.
Yeah.
He was stuck there. But he's working very hard on obviously making the right steps forward. And it's, we've talked about it in the business sense, fail forward. You can't let something negative that happens keep you in a negative state of mind.
Right.
And what more negative? I mean, listen, setting aside passing away, which at that point, you might have a belief of what happens in the afterlife.
Right.
Again, everybody has their own belief, but you now can't control your well-being anymore. That's now been pre-decided for you. But his accident and what happened to him is the worst of what can happen to you if you now have to take steps to recovery. Some people get a terminal illness and they have to deal with that, and then that happens.
Correct.
But for Brody, he survived something that left him unable to do everything that we as human beings normally take for granted. Walking, talking, eating, conversing, brushing your teeth. Everything from like we say, occupational therapy or physical therapy. Every single thing that we take for granted. Me moving my hands, I move them up and down. John tells me, put your hands down. I take that for granted because I just do it.
Sure.
He had to learn how to do all of that again. And to watch him communicate with us back and forth was an inspiration. And it's nice to see how far he's come in that period of time.
Yeah.
And I hope if he's watching this or he watches the clip
back, will,
Brody knows how far he's come. I'm guessing, because I'm obviously not him, it feels helpless at times to be like, okay, this is taking 3 years. And 3 years is a long time.
It is.
Like I said, I'm week 5 of my shoulder, and I'm irritated. I'm not better.
Right.
And I think about Brody. Brody, I think about you now when I'm doing my PT, and I'm like, why am I complaining? I'm 5 weeks out. This man has been 3 years into recovery.
Yeah.
But you've come so far in 3 years, and you have, hopefully 80 more.
Sure.
Be perfect. So,
absolutely.
He's an inspiration to me, and I'm hoping for everybody who's listening and watching.
Yeah, I concur. Just being able to be in a situation where we could spotlight him a little bit and let him show his personality. He's got a great personality, and just really, everything you just got done saying as far as taking things for granted and, movement and conversations and so on and so on and so on. He is from everything that I know from when the crash first happened to where he is now. He really is. He in months, perhaps years to come, I should say, he will probably wind up being able to go to some of these rehab facilities and tell his story, hopefully, and inspire a lot of people that are in that bubble that just can't necessarily see that positivity, the walking and talking again. He'll be able to go and hopefully really inspire others, because us as grown men, never, knock on wood, having to go through something like that, we're able to look at this person and think, wow, like you said, it's, you're what, 5 weeks, you said? 5 weeks. And at 18 years old, and longer for me than it has been for you, but you're dating a girl for like 2 months. It's like, oh, it's such a long time. So I mean, to use his age and the number of years he's been going through this, I mean, my goodness, that's like a sixth of his life. That's my gosh. So just keep on keeping on, and I know he's going to, and I know Jeannie and his father are well behind him and just really on his side, and we are too. And I look forward to having him come in here, or, as you're well aware, good friends out in Arizona, Tim, who always watches the show, and Maggie and I go out and see Tim and Nadine all the time, and I know we're probably going to wind up going and visiting with him, maybe doing a quick little live stream. And this isn't planned. I'm just saying next year at some point in time.
I mean, you can buddy pass me.
Well, you know what? I mean, honest to goodness, get on out there. You said you've never been in AZ, right?
I've never been to Arizona.
Oh, my friend, you are going to like Scottsdale,
I stopped
Arizona.
in the Phoenix airport.
Yep.
When my direct flight to Cabo got canceled by American, they rerouted me to Phoenix.
Okay.
But that was it.
Well, it's got a lot to offer, and we are happy to show you around.
I think when you drive from Vegas to Utah, you actually kind of clip Arizona, maybe.
Okay.
So I think I've driven through it.
That's not exactly the same. But landing and taking off or driving through and clipping does not suffice.
Yeah.
No, it's
Let's go when it's cold out.
Oh, well, we usually go out there for spring training. So it's just coming out of the winter time. It's still kind of cold here. And, man, you get off that airplane and all of a sudden it's 80 degrees opposed to 20. Oof.
Yeah.
Hello.
It's cold out
yeah.
today.
Yeah, it's a little on the chilly side today. So
Cool.
But yeah, so any further you want to go?
No, I mean, he's again an inspiration. I think even before we see him again, I'm guessing, or even before we see him in person, I'm guessing we'll probably have some updates with Brody from time to time.
Yeah, I
I
hope
think
so.
he's going to be a good
Sure.
inspiration. And like you said, if any of you have any words of
Positivity.
inspiration, anything you want to give to Brody, please message it. Like John said, John at AE Wheelhouse, Mo at AE Wheelhouse. We'll get him your positive messages.
Yeah.
He's a fun guy. And, if you got somebody in Arizona who's around 20, 21 years old,
yeah.
or a little bit older.
Maybe
I
a little bit
don't
older.
know if Brody minds. We got to find him a girlfriend. I told him I'm going to try. I'm going to do my best.
So one other thing that we were going to cover real quick, as far as a friend of the show.
Oh yes.
Yeah. A little bit of
Definitely can't forget
a different direction for the show, but
different direction for sure.
We had a friend. I'll let you talk on that.
Yeah. So last week, John had sent me a post about one of our past guests, and I really couldn't believe it when John sent it to me. If you watched, I believe it was end of September, about September.
Yeah.
I don't know the episode, but I can post it. We had a guest on. His name was Sean Jacobs. He was the owner and founder of Yoga 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
I know a lot of you are customers of Yoga 2.0. You go in there. I know after we had that show, I had a lot of people reach out and say, hey, I go through the yoga studio. I've seen him there.
Yeah.
I love it. It's
Yeah.
a great place to be. Sean passed away last week, and it was a shock to myself, a shock to John.
Mm-hmm.
He was very inspirational. We have a lot of people on the show, and most of our guests are larger than life. Their personality is infectious, and they motivate us. I can tell you, being in this room with him for a few hours, his infectious positivity was radiant.
Off the charts.
John and I, even after the show, John went over there, did some shooting of the studio. We're working on a couple other things with him, and it's a big loss to me and John, even though we knew him for a short period of time. So I want for me and John, and I'll let John, if he wants to elaborate on that as well, to elaborate, but send our condolences to his family, his friends. Incredible guy. He's very much going to be missed, and I hope he's resting in peace. And I was shocked. I mean, I just that news never comes easy when you know somebody,
Right.
But it was too soon, and he's definitely going to be missed. And I'm sure his friends and family are missing him. I hope they remember all the good times, which is I think what we all have to do when we lose somebody that we love.
I agree with
my
everything.
condolences to Sean's friends and family.
I agree with everything you just said as far as his passing. Shocked, and he actually kind of right in between as far as age between you and I. He was in his mid 40s. I mean, what he even said when he was on the show. I mean, the guy was 6'4", about 6'4", and big, just big,
remember
strong
really
dude.
Tall,
yeah,
because I'm not.
But he even said, he's like, I'm not when it comes to how I look physically as far as size. I mean, good looking dude. He's like, but size-wise, I'm not your typical yogi. It's usually like the little petite individuals and stuff. And his personality was just as big as his stature. And what a funny dude and nice. And even when I was able to get over to his studio after he was here, and we just sat, I sent him a message, and he got right back to me. And anything I can do for you, and come on over. And we sat and we talked for probably 20 minutes or so. And but it was that same. It wasn't on camera positivity. It was just that was him. It was just he was just a real gregarious, fun, but serious in the sense of business. He knew his stuff inside and out. And we talked numbers on a different project and stuff. And just he's gonna be missed. And again, condolences as you said to his friends and family, and even just people that just touched his life or he touched their life momentarily like he did with us. I mean, it's just one of those guys like, damn, man, really? I mean, so.
Lost a good one.
Yeah. Did very much so lose a good one.
Yeah, definitely. Like we said, condolences to his friends and family, and yeah, I was in shock.
So
Going
treat
into-
people nice. Be
Yep.
nice to people.
Yeah. You never know.
No, you don't know. You just don't know. And
You never know what
and
happens
just
tomorrow.
be respectful. If you can lend a helping hand to somebody, lend it. And if somebody's going to try and lend you a helping hand, appreciate it.
Yep.
Be nice to them, and respect what they're trying to do, and in turn pay it forward, and do what you can for people and such. I mean, I don't want to preach, but it seems like a good way to go through life.
I think it's a good thing to preach.
Yeah. Well,
So what do we got coming up? Am I putting
Oh,
you on the spot
actually,
there?
so next week we have, as we've already made mention of, we have the second part of the interview with Jeannie, and Jeannie is
She's fun.
she's cool as hell.
Yeah.
I mean, she really is for everything she's gone through. But even just, I think outside of all of that, just as an individual, she's cool as hell. So we also have a gentleman. His name is Kevin Davis, and he and I have been talking back and forth now. Ooh, I should put myself on camera while I talk. Boom. Kevin Davis is a yacht captain.
Okay.
And the way that he and I first started talking, I came across a post on, I think it was LinkedIn, probably LinkedIn. And it was the yacht that he was, I'm going to let him describe it, but it's sort of a mega yacht that is really good for the environment. I mean, as you're well aware, boats and yachts don't get good miles per gallon, or however you phrase that. But this, I'll let him talk about it because he can do it far better than I, apparently. But super, when it comes to boating and yachts, very, very educated. But because he is out and he really does, he sails the world. Man, does he have some good stories to tell as far as places he's been, people he's talked to, people he's met, and people that he has captained basically around the world.
Very cool.
And yeah, but he's from Chicago, and I think it was. I know it was a past guest, and I'll give her credit. I don't want to say her name right now because I want to confirm. But I know it was a past guest that turned us on to him, and that's how
Awesome.
I reached out.
Very
yeah,
cool. We appreciate that.
We do, and I'll make sure to give her credit next week. I just want to confirm that it is who I think. But yeah, so we're gonna have Kevin in, Captain Kevin. Kevin in next week, and we're going to do also the second
Part of
Brody and Jeannie, and yeah, so it's going to be, and that's going to be our last one for the year, man. 'Cause after that,
Yeah, Wednesdays happen to be Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve, right?
Christmas Day and New Year's Day.
I think it's Eve. I could be wrong. I think they fall.
I'll bet you a Jameson and soda.
Deal.
Or a deal.
I mean, we're about to
we've
find
got-
out. I'm
all
gonna
right.
look now. Oh, rats! You're right.
Boom. So is that one Jameson soda per?
That's
Holiday?
fine. I'm gonna. We haven't seen that. We have Diet Coke, so I'll pour you one in a second. You need one after today.
Oh, funny stuff. All right.
Well,
yeah. So
That's it for today, guys. Thank you so much. Again, send us any sort of well wishes and inspiration you have for Brody. We really appreciate you guys tuning in. We are sorry our guest canceled on us today.
Mm-hmm.
I assure you it was out of our control. We did everything we could.
Yep.
We will see you next week at 3 o'clock. And
We
that'll
will.
be it for about 2 weeks there.
yeah, absolutely.
So we'll see you next Wednesday at 3.
In 3, 2,